Hi, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found us. I hope you enjoy the tips, ideas, and a few ideas that I have. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value, and a little entertainment at times from listening to this podcast. Today, I have a few more ideas. Over the course of the past couple of months, I've talked about changing my life. I talked about how we also can change things in our life. And I talked about those changes and the things that we need to do, how we can start from scratch, break ourselves down and rebuild on a solid foundation so that we can be strong enough to weather the storms of life. And I think we all need to sit back or step back and take a look at our lives and how we've been living, and is it aligned with our values, and so on and so forth. We talked about critical questions and a change in, I believe it was a series I had called Change. We talked about several questions that we need to ask ourselves and do some soul searching to understand ourselves on a much deeper and more intimate level. Because a lot of us, we believe and we know we can do certain things, but yet when it comes to sitting there and writing out what we believe and what we think and what we think about ourselves, that really matters a great deal too. So I also talked about changing our habits. Sometimes in order to make a difference for yourself, it's about perception. It's about what we see, right? It's about what we perceive and what we see. In order for us to change our past, we sometimes have to look at, or I wouldn't say past, but in order for us to have a perception of our past. And some of the episodes in the past that I've talked about, I said, you want to change your life, you have to change what you think. And even in the Bible, it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Sometimes in order to make a move, you have to step backward in order to move forward. That means that you have to say, you know what, what I've been doing in the past hasn't been working yet. So let me take a new approach. Let me start thinking differently. Let me change my perception. Let me change what I'm doing. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So we want to renew our mind with what we see, with what we believe, and so on and so forth, right? So I talked about how that perception lies within ourselves and what we think and what we perceive about ourselves. It's not about, I believe we need to pay close attention to what we see ourselves and how we see ourselves, not how others see us, but what we see ourselves and look at ourselves and what we perceive inside, from the inside out. Okay, so that's basically what I talked about in the past. And in the last episode, I think before I even say what I talked about in the last episode, there's another thing I talked about. I talked about building from the foundation, and I also talked about habits, because I think habits come into a serious play at what we do and how we can make our lives a whole lot better. Because think about it, habits, you do habits and perform habits every single day. I believe that also changing our habits can literally change our life. And, I talked about getting in touch with our values in the last episode, reviewing them every so often to make our lives, to make sure our lives basically are aligned with our values and our mission in life. The changes we think and we believe or we seek, you want to make sure that whatever values in life or whatever you have as far as your values and your mission in life, you want to make sure that the activities in your life are aligning up with what you believe and what is part of your mission in life and where you want to go. So the changes you want to see in your life, why not make them easy and readily available? And if all possible, why not make the things that you want to change in your life a little easier and perhaps maybe even fun. So I talk about a couple of those things today, and what is it that we might want to change, right? So I'll give you an example. For me, it was I wanted to build a stronger relationship with God. I wanted to strengthen my spirituality. So I realized for me, how could I do that? What things do I need to change, and what things do I need to implement new in my life in order to have a stronger relationship with God? Number one was, okay, let me start reading my scriptures a whole lot more. So I started reading my scriptures in the morning. I started reading my scriptures in the night. And sometimes when I'm not doing too much of anything, I'll probably pick up the Bible and look at certain scriptures and ponder on them and make notes about the scriptures and to see what I might understand and what different things. But for you may want to think about, I would like to earn some more money. I would like to earn extra money. So you might have to look at ways on how you can do that. You might even have to say, what do I have that's readily available to help me earn extra money? Is it a car? Do you have an extra room in the house? Do you have some old things that you would like to sell on eBay or, Poshmark or anything of that nature? What is it that you can do right now with what you have to earn some extra money? So you can look at those things. And for other people, you might be the type of person to say, you know what, I want to get in shape. I want to start working out more. And I matter of fact, I don't work out. I need to start working out. So you might want to start working out a few minutes a day and move on from there. But if you're the type of person who's forever drinking juice and soda, you might say, you know what, I want to change that habit. I want to start drinking more water. I want to drink more water. So what you might have to do is start buying cases of water and putting probably 24 bottles of water in the refrigerator. So when you open your fridge, you can readily see and have cold water available, making it easy and simple to just do. So, and for some people, it might be, you know what? I want to eat healthier. I can get behind that. So what you might have to start doing is changing what you buy at the grocery store. Because 95% of our health is what we do at the kitchen table. Yes, it is. We could work out in the gym all day long, but 95% is going to show whether or not your body is healthy. And I believe if you can start putting healthy things in your body, you'll have a healthier life. So I don't care how much you work out. So there we have it. Those are some ideas, right? And to make it simple, easy, and enjoyable, because that's basically what we have to do. Have you ever thought about buying a particular car? And once you purchase the car, or right before you purchase it, you start to see that particular car everywhere. Before you never even thought about that make or model, you wasn't really paying attention. You didn't see it, or it could be anything. It could be like a shoe or an item or a jacket or a song or whatever. Now you wind up, your mind is open to it and you see it everywhere you go, and that's how life is. That's basically the same thing if we want to change our habits or change our life in one way or another. And I'm gonna give you a story, and this story is about myself. I used to wonder why so many bad things happen with me and my family. I started to search for answers to put an end to the crazy chaos cycle we were experiencing, but to no avail. For years gone by, and it was just one hectic thing to the next, right? I was always envisioning and thinking on it, and it was everything that I saw. I'm always thinking about what bad thing can happen next, and this is what I saw in my imagination, and this is what I was speaking out loud, and what I thought about all the time, and sometimes even what I talked about to friends and family. This is basically what I thought about. So I thought about something else in my search. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you're thinking on a certain thing, it will manifest in your life one way or another. And I want to stop right there for one moment. That's powerful, right? Can you get behind that? Our thoughts are so powerful, it can manifest a reality in our life. That's deep. I don't know if you get how deep that really is. Have you ever heard the saying, if you think you can't, you won't. If you think you can, you will. Or how about this one? If you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can, guess what? You're right. Whatever you believe makes it so. So as we think, so we have an opportunity to manifest those thoughts in our life. And it comes in many forms, shapes, and fashion. So when I kept wondering why so many bad things is happening, and not only me, but people who were around me that didn't live with me started to ask the same question. Wow, y'all going through a lot. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life before. Yeah. It was because we were thinking and we were manifesting this stuff like crazy. I mean, we might as well been a factory for bad habits, bad thoughts, or whatever. Or I finally thought about one thing. I finally saw there is truth. There was truth. I uncovered this by my research and by reading in the Bible. I finally saw that there was truth. There was so much power in what we say to ourselves inwardly and what we say out of our mouths to others to hear. There is power to manifest a bad reality or good reality. It's about what you perceive and believe. I'll say that again. It's about what you perceive and believe. It's the same thing in life. If we dwell on goodness, good things in life will start to come our way slowly but surely. And I have to get you to understand what I'm saying. This is the life I was living. I kept thinking about so much bad things happening that they were happening every day. I don't know about you, but I had a car, and every car that I bought, I was just waiting for it to break. I kept thinking, I hope I can make it to work. Oh, I hope I can make it to this client without my car breaking down. Guess what? The car broke down. Isn't that crazy? And I was like, what? Why? I'm wondering, like, this has got to be crazy. But I realized it's what I was thinking on. It was what I was manifesting in my life. So finally, I had to figure out something. I had to look for a way to make the change. I had to look for a way, an opportunity for this madness to stop. And, you know, I think about this too in Philippians 4:8 in the King James Version. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good rapport. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Now, I'm assuming it's saying, hey, look, you know, instead of worrying about what could happen, envision the greatness that can happen. So when in sales, and believe me, I've been there. I've been in sales most of my life, so that's why I'm gravitating to this analogy. In sales, there is a certain thing that we have to do before we go into a company and make a pitch. You have to practice what you say. You have to practice your presentation several times, so when you deliver it, it's flawless. And you have to tell yourself you will walk out of there with the sale no matter what. And you will have to look in the mirror sometimes and say to yourself, you got this. Don't worry about nothing. You got this. You prepared for this. You practiced for this. You're going to go in there and you're going to do awesome. You may have to incorporate affirmations about your skill, your confidence, your ability to deliver. And yes, I mean, this is the way that you have to do this, right? Listen, and you may have to basically get the deal or whatever the case may be. But I want to tell you this, it doesn't matter. And you may not get the deal by doing all that, but it won't be because you didn't perform. It won't be because you perform miserably. It won't be that at all. But you better believe your victory is only a no away. In life, as in sales, I believe that. You cannot let one no stop your journey. Why? Because it's part of the process. And in life, living and growing is part of the journey. And sharpening our skills and becoming a better person, a better salesperson, or a better person in life, whether it's a mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, cousin, grandfather, grandmother, it doesn't matter. Over a course of time, if you're doing something in a positive fashion, if you're doing something in a positive way, you're going to become better at it. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you're thinking on a positive level, guess what? You're going to continue to be positive. Self-talk is more powerful than you can imagine. Try self-talk for 365 days and watch your actions change and watch your life change. I'm telling you, it works. It's true. So if you want to start to change your life, start small. I'm not saying you got to go out there and start these big crazy things and it's going to all work. No, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take time. But guess what? You can start small. Did you know that small beginnings often produce great outcomes? Let's look at the mustard seed, right? It's one of the smallest seeds of herbs, but can produce and grow into a great tree. I read in an old book, truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. So I'm not trying to get biblical here, but there is a correlation in what we believe. There is a correlation in what we do because of our belief. How we perceive things and how we perceive and believe ourselves to be. You want to start small and make small adjustments in your life. You can handle small, right? For an example, let's say you want to start exercising. You want to, for the past 2 years, you haven't started because you've been telling yourself all kind of crazy things. Excuses, right? So you've been telling yourself, you know what, I really don't have the time. Or I can't afford any gear. I don't have time to go to the gym, or I can't afford a gym membership. Whatever the excuses you've been telling yourself and all those lies and believing it, guess what? You need to stop. You need to stop because small beginnings, right? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about going out there and spending money. We're talking about start right where you at, right with what you got. You don't need more time. You just need to start small before you take a shower in the morning, exercise for 2 minutes. That's it. Do that for 30 days. And what you're going to find is you'll wind up increasing your time naturally. And the best part about this, it doesn't cost you any money, right? It doesn't cost you any time, really. 2 minutes. What's 2 minutes? You can do this exercise in all natural. Look, Mom, no hands. I'm only kidding, but it's true. It's easy as that. Make it a game and make it more enjoyable. Start small. Small beginnings, make it easy, make it readily available, and make it fun. Here's the key though. You have to be intent. You have to be on purpose. And you have to add a time frame for focus. When you choose a time and a place and being on purpose with a purpose, you will not fail. You may alter the course. You may drop the ball every now and then. But believe me, over the course of time, you'll become better at it and you will want to do it. And this is part of life. If you want to make it a change in your life and you want to change your habits, and I believe that this a change in your habits, you will definitely change your life depending on the habits. So all these things, you're building from the ground up. You're building on a rock. You have to have a strong foundation. Once you start asking yourself questions and find out and really be brutally honest with yourself, you can find out what makes you tick. Even if you have to go online and take self-assessments to find out why you do the things you do, why the way you act. And you have to look at, you want to find out information about yourself where you can be intimate and make intimate changes deep down inside at your core changes. Because I want to explain this one before I leave. The reason why I say you got to be brutally honest with yourself, when you ask yourself a ton of questions on why you're doing this, why you're doing that, and you take all these self-assessments and you gather the information and you look at yourself with one hard look and say, wow, this is why I do what I do. This needs to change. This is why I act the way I act. This is why I respond in certain situations. Wow, I didn't realize this. So now you're armed with a lot of information about yourself, but you're going to be changing at the core. And the core is where your values are. It's where your beliefs are. It's you're building from the ground up. So when you're building, you want to make sure that you start using good, solid information. Build on the rock. And you know, there was an old saying, right? It was a wise man who built his house on the rock, and when the wind came and blew down and blew upon that house, it stood still. It stood the test of time. But you know, you don't want to be like the person who builds his house on the sand, and when the wind came, it blew his house down and he had nothing left. So that reveals something about you. If you're building on the sand, you got to start asking yourself, why? Why am I building on such a soft and unreliable foundation when I could build on the rock? So don't be a victim of circumstance or your environment. Be the architect of it and change your habits, live by your values, and change the course of your life for the better. Think of the mustard seed, the smallest of herbs, but grows into something great. I believe that you're great. I believe that you can grow into something more powerful, more meaningful, and more reliable in life, where you can be a benefit to every aspect of life. It's up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You can wallow in self-pity, or you can get up, dust yourself off, and say, I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to be rebuilding myself from the inside out, and I'm going to start building upon the rock. My name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I hope that this was good food for thought. I know it's ideas that we already know, but guess what? It's a lot of things that we know, but we just don't do. But we got to find a way to make it enjoyable so that we can do the things that will help us prosper in life. I'm only trying to give you some ideas that you already know, but bring it to the forefront that you can act upon them. Thanks again for listening. I really appreciate. Please share this with someone and like and subscribe. I really appreciate you. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye. You're listening to the last podcast. talk. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Dave with The Last Podcast. So long.